और अगर मुझे कैमरा में देखना है तो मैं उसमें देखूँ ना?
If you want to address like the general audience, उसमें भी देखो.
ठीक है.
Okay, so how do we start it then?
इसके अलावा कोई बी प्लान नहीं था.
You think I am a guy who?
ये रिकॉर्ड होना चाहिए. It should be recorded. कितने no B plan.
We aren't spreading disinformation because intention खराब नहीं है, but I think it's tricky. It's a tricky terrain.
Hello and welcome to the Quint, and in this special podcast I have with me some fact checkers. ये वो लोग हैं जो इंटरनेट की गंदगी साफ करते हैं. And before we even start, I want to put it on the table कि हम इससे पहले क्या करने वाले थे. We actually wanted to plant a fake story and see how far it travels, but then
Not we, you.
but then better sense prevailed and इन्होंने पूरी मेरी क्लास ली कि ऐसा क्यों नहीं करना चाहिए. So और वो हम अभी तुम्हें भी बताएंगे. Why should I be the only person learning? So yeah, let's start with introductions.
Hi, you want me to say hi everybody or what? You really caught me off guard
Yeah,
with
that's
this.
what I thought you were giving. You noted down everything.
देखो मेरा काम है चीजें आउटसोर्स करना. तो
Anyway, hi everybody. My name is Kritika and I work with the WebCoof team, which is the Quint's fact-checking initiative.
I'm Divya Chandra. I'm a fact checker with Boom Live and I conduct fact checking training and workshops. And previously I was working with the Quint in their fact checking team. I was working with Kritika and Siddharth. And little impromptu knowledge. I'm meeting Siddharth for the first time today. Although we worked on innumerable comprehensive fact checks over the call, over Google Meets. But I'm meeting him today for the first time.
मेरा नाम सिद्धार्थ है और मैं भी क्विंट की फैक्ट चेकिंग टीम का हिस्सा हूँ. हिंदी में जो अफवाहें सोशल मीडिया पर वायरल होती हैं मैं उन पर नज़र रखता हूँ और सच आप तक पहुँचाने की कोशिश करता
फैक्ट चेकिंग का हिंदी क्या होता है?
हूँ. फैक्ट चेकिंग
ओके सो
तथ्यों की जांच.
सही सूचना.
हाँ, रियल न्यूज़, रियल इन्फॉर्मेशन.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
okay so it like the first question is somewhere related to this only. Fact checking होता क्या है? Like what is fact checking?
I mean, in simple terms.
Also who's the most senior person here? Like who's the हमारा the OG कौन है यहाँ पे? OG fact checker.
I think ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I think everybody here is doing incredible work. So yeah, I don't know. That's
So who wants to start? What is fact checking? मेरे को बताओ. I don't know anything about fact checking clearly. So
yeah.
what is fact checking?
Okay, so see, fact checking, I think in simplest way possible explain karna ho, so it's basically to provide the right information to your readers. And I just want to say one thing, that fact checking was always a part of journalism. It's nothing new. Yeah, it's true that today it's emerged as a different branch, probably because of social media, because of accessibility, because data is really cheap and all of us are online all the time. Given the information which is out there, maybe fact checking has emerged as a separate part or branch of journalism.
I'm seeing a lot of news organizations have like a separate fact
checking
desk. So when did
now,
this start? That people started giving that special attention to fact checking?
I think somewhere in 2016-17 is when it started for most of the news organizations in India, and I think even in the US and other parts of the world.
And before that, did you work as a journalist before 20?
Yeah.
So what were you doing then?
So I was working on the news desk before that. I've not been a journalist for too long. I've been working for close to 6.5 years now. So not a lot before fact checking, because since 2019 I've been working as a fact checker. But before that I was working on the news desk, and yeah, I love.
And what's the difference between like fact checking then, which you said was a part of journalism, and fact checking now?
I'll explain that with an example. I think that's when I'd be clearer probably. Like for instance, कल रात को भूकंप आया. Incidentally
किसको लगा भूकंप? By the way,
I felt it. I was
You felt
sleeping.
it?
Yeah, I was sleeping and I woke up in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Yeah, that was something. But yeah, so anyway, there was an earthquake, right? And there was lunar eclipse yesterday. So now a lot of people are connecting the two, linking the two, saying that whenever there is an eclipse, there's an earthquake. But I really doubt there's any scientific evidence for that so far. Siddharth's working on that story for us now.
Check out his story, please.
Yeah, thanks for the plug. But yeah, he's working on the story. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is, it might look harmless कि ठीक है किसी को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा ना. मैंने बोल दिया कि यार lunar eclipse की वजह से earthquake आ गया. There's nothing that's going to, it's not going to have an impact on somebody personally or as a community or individually. But that's incorrect information. If today news channels start playing that up, let's say they start calling religious gurus, they start calling other people, and everybody sits down and they have a discussion on it. I'm just saying it's incorrect information. So I don't know how to tell you what is the difference between working on a news desk and fact checking, because as I said, as a journalist, you are a fact checker.
You should be at least, right?
I mean, you have to provide correct information, right? I think Divya will be able to explain that better, since she also does a lot of trainings for journalists and
yeah,
other
so we
people.
will get back to her side of the training and all. So मुझे एक बात बताओ कि by virtue of you guys being fact checkers, you would be coming across some really absurd and like weird stories, right? So tell me something. What मतलब तुम जब कोई story पढ़ते हो, what is your first thought कि मतलब बताओ यार कि मतलब what is that feeling कि इतना कैसे misinformation हो सकता है?
अब एज अ फैक्ट चेकर नज़रिया थोड़ा चेंज हो गया है। पहले जिस चीज़ पर हंसते थे हम, अब कोई सुनाता है तो कहते हैं मुझे फॉरवर्ड करो, मैं चेक करता हूँ। तो वो नज़रिया चेंज हुआ है। और कई बार क्या होता है ना, सच्चाई के बहुत करीब होती है मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन।
Okay.
जैसे कि अभी इमरान खान पर अटैक हुआ था उनकी रैली पर। अब अगर एक इमेज आती है, उसमें भी इमरान खान नॉर्मल नहीं दिख रहे हैं, लेटे हुए दिख रहे हैं, तो ये मानना बहुत मुश्किल नहीं है कि ऐसी का वो होगा।
उसी से related.
हाँ, लेकिन वो एक्चुअली 4-5 साल पुरानी फोटो है। अब इस पर ये भी कहा जा सकता है कि फर्क क्या पड़ता है, अटैक तो इमरान पर हुआ था। बट जैसे हम करप्शन की बात करते हैं ना, कि 500 रुपए लेना भी करप्शन ही है, और एक्शन उस पर भी होता है, वो भी कोर्ट जाता है, उतना ही सख्त हमें मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन पर भी होना चाहिए। वो इसलिए क्योंकि मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन की स्वीकार्यता बढ़ना, उसकी एक्सेप्टेंस बढ़ जाना सोसाइटी में कि क्या होता है, ये बहुत ज्यादा हानिकारक है।
I love the analogy.
अच्छा, अब तुमने एक वर्ड यूज करा मिसइन्फॉर्मेशन, इसी से मिलता जुलता एक वर्ड है डिसइन्फॉर्मेशन। सो व्हाट इज दैट डिस्टिंक्शन लाइक
So misinformation is, let's say I receive a message on WhatsApp, ठीक है, कोई वीडियो है, फोटो है, I've received it on WhatsApp, and let's say it's come from my best friend or trusted source. I trust that person, family group, parents, anybody, and I said कि ठीक है, इसने भेजा है तो सही होगा. So I don't even bother thinking or checking, and I forward it to you. I don't know whether it was wrong. I didn't even care to check. But let's say it turns out to be false, or something about that turns out to be false. Yeah. So that is misinformation. Why? Because I didn't intentionally send it to you. In the sense, I am not intentionally passing wrong information to you. But disinformation is when I know it's false. I know the thing that I'm sending it to you is wrong, is false. Yet I am presenting it to you as a fact. That is disinformation. So both the words, the only difference is the intention. Yeah. So, I mean, just to give an example of disinformation, election campaigns, very easy example. It's not like the politicians or any party or any public personality does not know that it's wrong. They know, but they're doing it, or they're manipulating it, or whatever they're doing, making misleading claims to woo the voters. So this is disinformation.
So would something like a lunar eclipse and earthquake ka correlation come under misinformation or disinformation?
It really depends on the people who are sharing it. I can't say. Like, maybe I've actually, I have no intention and I didn't even know it's not true, as an individual, and I just shared it with Siddharth without knowing. So that's misinformation.
Does that also depend on what kind of, like, did you send it believing something to be true?
Yeah,
Because
it
मान
is.
लो I receive a political party ka forward against a particular candidate. And in my head, I truly believe that this news is true. मान लो in the Shashi Tharoor wala case, there were a lot of fake news and everything going around that. And I, let's say I am biased towards the fact that, okay, इसने तो करा ही होगा. And if I like forward it with मेरी तरफ से, तो it's like all good intentions माने I know,
You
I believe it to be true.
That's where your confirmation bias comes in.
So in this case, would I be like propagating misinformation or disinformation?
It's still misinformation because your intention.
Exactly. My intention
yeah, your
is not to
intention is not
create
wrong,
some,
but it's because of your confirmation bias is why you're believing that information to be true. So I think those are two separate things, and we should keep them separate. So intent is to do with misinformation and disinformation. If I'm knowingly forwarding something to you because I want to mislead you, that's disinformation. But when I'm forwarding something to you without even knowing that it's not true, I shared it with you. Let's say I'll give you an example because everybody uses the microwave, right? So when we are heating our food in the microwave, there are lots of rumors, or should I say, information on the internet where people say that you should not heat your food in the microwave because the radiation is very harmful.
It's not.
It's not. I'll actually share a story with you on that. But anyway, now if I'm sharing that with you, thinking that, oh, I should share this with Prateek because I care about him as a friend, he should know about this, right? So that's misinformation. I didn't mean to mislead you. I was sharing it out of concern, out of care. So that's the
So the kind
Also,
of
even though we're, so as fact checkers, we're debunking all false claims, misinformation, disinformation. But like you asked, it's not like fact checkers can tell you whether a particular claim is misinformation or disinformation. I'll tell you why. Because it's extremely difficult to track the source of the false claim.
Also
Till
the
the time-
intent, right? You want to
Yeah,
know what
first you can't even track the source. Intent to bahut dur ki baat hai. Like you don't even know who was the first person who spread in a lot of cases. I'm not saying kahin nahi ho sakta, but in a lot of cases you're not able to track the source also. So intention is another level. So
interesting.
yeah.
Also, it really depends on the person's past pattern, I would say. Like, for instance, if you're a habitual offender, and I know that you constantly do this, like you have a pattern of targeting a certain community using misinformation. So, you're using misinformation as your tool to target a certain community. It could be anybody, right? Then I could see that over the years, I could say that, yeah, it is probably disinformation because you have a habit of doing that without even knowing whether it's right or wrong. It's very difficult for us to say.
So what are the craziest stories you've come across? Apna past life, past life नहीं sorry.
Past life regression हो गया.
मतलब like अपनी life.
There was one story. I was working at Quint only. I remember Kritika and I were discussing. So there was this video. It was like a video which was taken in night, and there was some weird creature in a white dress. Okay, weird creature.
see where
It
this
was
is
somewhere. I don't remember the exact place, but somewhere in Jharkhand is what I remember. But there was some video रात का था, and some very lonely road. Okay, stranded road, and some person in white cloth was moving. Now these local villagers and they all मतलब basically उनके circle में and on WhatsApp बहुत ही viral video था, and people started claiming that we've seen an alien. Okay, now this. If I'm showing it to you, you might think ये कितना weird है, ये भी कोई believe करने की चीज़ है, ठीक है? Now this is where the question starts. The first thing is whether we should debunk it or not. Is it that weird?
Why is that a question? मतलब
So see, the thing is sometimes you really have to decide what to debunk, what not to debunk. Just because a thing is going viral, कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है that has to be debunked only. It really depends on what kind of claims are going around, how much people are believing. See, when something is viral, it also could be people are actually calling it out. Okay. Nobody is believing. People are already calling it out कि ये तो गलत है. Like less number of people are actually believing.
So do you also then look at the nature of the forward? What kind
of
of
course, we see the claim is like the thing along with the visuals. Claim को बहुत analyze करना पड़ता है. So again, people might say it's subjective, ठीक है? आपके interpretation पे है. So that's what I'm saying. There are a lot of layers. So this was one video where it was really viral, and it's so a lot of times these videos don't have any visual clues. एक stranded road है, पेड़ दिख रहे हैं, एक white color में है. How will you know it's even Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, anywhere in the country or even outside country? So it took like a long time for us, and actually to figure out, we reached out to a lot of local reporters, police.
So wait, like track me through that story. मान लो it's today you've gotten that visual. What is your first SOP and what do you do then?
Yeah, so first because we're not getting any visual clue, claim is it's somewhere in XYZ state. Okay, we reach out to local, just presuming that let's say it's true. Some first lead तो वही है और कोई तो idea है नहीं. So we reach out to local reporters and police officials there in that region. Let's say everybody says कि we don't know anything about it, we haven't seen it, it hasn't come to our information, so we have no idea. So it stops there. Then we keep searching for, let's say we use all these fact-checking tools, reverse image search.
Pause. What are those tools?
Achha, okay. So
see, we are all clearly by the intro.
It's just our lingo.
Yeah.
तुम्हारा
that's
exactly.
why.
I am feeling like yes, I'm not invited to the party. Checking tools and all.
Yeah.
So since it was a video, there's a tool called InVid. Okay, so what InVid does is it basically breaks down a video into multiple keyframes, and then you can conduct a reverse image search on each frame. Now I'll tell you what reverse image search is in very basic terms. So when you upload an image or any reverse image search engine, it can be Google, Yandex, there are multiple engines. So you upload it on that tool, and what it does is wherever that image has been used on the internet, it will give you results of all those links. So now you have an idea where all it was used before, if it was used, of course. If it's like a completely brand new
So
video.
if it's a stock image, or जैसे we see a lot of these politics में they किसी और country का street को किसी और
Correct,
country
correct.
का.
So
So
ये
all of
सब
that
आपको
you
result
can
में
do on
दिखेगा.
this.
Yeah, you can
And is
see.
this something that normal people can also use?
Yeah, it's all
Everybody,
free.
I think it's very simple for people to use.
And a lot of this is on your phone also.
Yeah.
So all these things are available on your phone. It's not like you have to have a
And
laptop
I mean,
and all.
even if we are not using InVid, which is an extension, you have Google Lens on your
So मान
phone,
लो if I
which is
get a
super
video, I
useful.
take a screenshot of a frame
Run
that
it
I
through
think
Google
is
Lens.
dubious.
Yeah.
And it will show you
And
results.
you can do it on your phone.
Yeah.
सुन लो.
Yeah, so it's very easy. So we do all of that. Let's say even that doesn't give you any results. Okay. So then we do some keyword searches.
Okay.
Depending on whatever you're seeing in the video, in all languages. We don't have to restrict ourselves to only English. Yeah. We don't have to restrict to English. We have to use Hindi. We have to use hashtags. सब खुद बनाने पड़ते हैं बस देखकर, क्योंकि आपको नहीं पता वीडियो कहाँ से
So
है.
you are like thinking from the mind of a fake news spreader.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
what. The keywords are
Next level
very
stuff.
tricky part because you have to get the keyword right for it to reflect in your
We've
searches.
seen, sorry for interrupting, but we've had instances. If Divya, you remember that story that once we did, which was a school in Ghaziabad, which was being passed off as a school in Delhi, which was converted into a madarsa. You remember that story? So, I remember it became so difficult to track that video. We were obviously doing a keyword search in Hindi because obviously we do find a lot of provocative stuff in Hindi.
Hindi माने in Devanagari script.
Yes, yes. Yeah, just use Google Translate and we do that. So we were doing that, and I remember we were using some very simple keywords. Obviously, I don't remember the exact keywords now, but we were using keywords, and it just didn't come. Nowhere on Facebook could we find it. Nowhere on YouTube could we find it. And then I remember we made a simple tweak to the keywords that we were using, and we found the video which was posted by some user. I don't remember if it was a leader of a particular party or what. But anyway, we came across that video. So I mean, that's the importance of your keyword search as well.
So you're saying this anybody can do, like basic keyword search and reverse image search.
Of course. So in this case, when we did that keyword search on YouTube, we came across a very local, hyper-local news channel who had debunked this video.
Oh.
Because they were on ground, they had the resources, it's happening in their region, right? So they would know more information. We sitting in Delhi might not know, right? So they debunked, and then we reached out to them, and then, the follow-ups happened and all of that. So yeah.
So, like talking about, like you was mentioning a place in Jharkhand and all, this got me thinking कि since you work in primarily with Hindi में काम करते हो ना तुम, so Hindi belt की fake news और जो normal हमारा जो urban India है, दिल्ली, बॉम्बे, इन सब जगहों की fake news में क्या difference लगता है तुम्हें?
कई सारे फैक्टर्स काम करते हैं. पहला तो जोग्राफिकल फैक्टर होता है, जो वहाँ से जुड़े क्लेम्स हैं, वहाँ के पॉलिटिशियंस से जुड़े, वो ज़्यादा होते हैं हिंदी में. दूसरा ये हमें ये समझना पड़ेगा कि हिंदी जो बोलने वाला तबका है देश में, उसमें से बड़ा हिस्सा वो है जो रूरल एरिया में रहता है. अब तक तो उसके पास, कुछ सालों पहले तक तो इन्फॉर्मेशन का भी सोर्स नहीं था. अब उसके पास इन्फॉर्मेशन का सोर्स है, इंटरनेट की जो क्रांति आई है, जो भी अनलिमिटेड इंटरनेट की. उसके बाद अब एक नया संकट है कि अब उसको ये बताने वाला कोई नहीं है कि इसमें से क्या मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन है, क्या डिसइन्फॉर्मेशन है, और क्या आपको कंज्यूम करना चाहिए. ट्विटर भी वो नहीं चलाते. हम तो बहुत आगे की बात कर रहे हैं, वो सिर्फ व्हाट्सएप चलाते हैं.
हाँ, so what's the biggest like social media platform in the Hindi region? WhatsApp, you think?
हाँ, व्हाट्सएप. और व्हाट्सएप सबसे चैलेंजिंग प्लेटफॉर्म है मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन को ट्रैक करने का.
क्योंकि encryption ना, end to end encrypted.
आप ये सर्च नहीं कर सकते कि इस मैसेज को वो फॉरवर्डेड मेनी टाइम्स बस बता देता है. आप ये चेक नहीं कर सकते
Also,
किसने
WhatsApp के थ्रू भी like when people are sharing all of these messages on WhatsApp, वो भी word of mouth में convert हो जाता है. ये कोविड के टाइम हमने बहुत देखा. You know, if let's say कोविड के टाइम ये बहुत सारे claims थे कि you should not take the vaccine because it will lead to infertility. तो वो WhatsApp forwards थे. वो we saw these in all our urban pockets, but at the same time this was also traveling. And people in rural parts of the country were also
So
consuming
basically,
this.
there is a channel for the misinformation to travel, but the fact check travel करने का कोई
Not
challenge
always,
नहीं.
because it's also the way we are probably, I think we are all working towards it, but it's also probably the way we are packaging, you know. Fact checks boring है ना, fact दे दो यार आप, मतलब it's not very interesting, but when you're telling something, this is an analogy that we often use. Fake news, it really strikes at your emotions, but fact check probably is not
It
always doing
strikes
that
at
because
your
facts
reason,
दे रहे हो. Maybe you're not making it as exciting as fake news would sound, right? So unfortunately, but
And is there also a literacy angle to it? कि
Of
मतलब,
course it is, there is.
like I'm assuming that Hindi and urban spaces के fake news maybe there would be some sort of difference. No, because I am saying in a lot of like Hindi based stories, I see a lot of like talking about visual stories, I see a lot of Photoshop work etc. जो अगर मैं किसी दिल्ली बॉम्बे या इस urban setting के बच्चे को दिखाऊंगा, he would be also able to
I
understand that
disagree.
it's no.
I
Not
disagree.
like that? मतलब even like एकदम जो गंदा
I mean it depends.
Microsoft Paint पे जो करा हुआ
वो भी कई बार
चल जाता
people
है.
fall for it. So I'm not sure if there's anything that links it to literacy.
हाँ, ये कहा जा सकता है कि यहाँ
Yeah, even I thought.
No, I'm saying even
media-
social literacy, because Photoshop and editing and all now has become so second nature for us.
Yeah, but I think it's us because we are in the media industry. Because we're in this industry, we're like, oh, ये photoshopped है. We are able to understand it, maybe. I wouldn't say it
So
for
what's the
everybody.
craziest Photoshop job that you've seen? मतलब कि मान लो passport size photo को किसी के उस पे लगा के कुछ claim.
So there was this picture of.
Please share that picture to me. I will like.
Yeah. There was this picture. I can't remember किसके साथ था वो picture, but there was a picture of Prime Minister Modi with, I think.
The claim was he was with
He was
Adani's
wearing-
wife.
No. The one which said that the sheikh is wearing a saffron robe because he's with Prime Minister Modi. I can't remember where was.
I remember the photo.
Yeah, it showed a leader from a Gulf country and it showed Prime Minister Modi. And the leader from the Gulf country was wearing a saffron robe. उसको मतलब
So
Photoshop
that changed
किया
the
गया
color to
था.
saffron.
No, yeah, they changed the entire thing to saffron. I think they put religious symbols on it and all of that to say that look, since he's meeting Modi ji, he is wearing a saffron robe. It was funny.
Even since she's mentioning this, even once there was this photo, Emmanuel Macron, he was garlanded with a lot of बहुत सारी मालाएं थी, like you know, a lot of garlands. Yeah, a lot of garlands, white garlands. But obviously, in reality, he was not. So that was like a Photoshop, and people believe. Like we did an article on this.
Oh.
I remember
Yeah.
the story.
So
Yeah,
they put
fact
the garlands on top of his.
Yeah,
photo.
It
full.
wasn't just garland.
Yeah.
It was
like
long,
you couldn't see his
huge-
clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was all garland only.
Yeah, all you could see was garland.
Yeah.
एक जो फर्क की आपने बात कही, इसका तो कोई फर्क नहीं होता कि कौन इसे अर्बन सेटिंग में बैठा हुआ सच मानेगा, लेकिन इम्पैक्ट में एक फर्क होता है. जैसे मैं इस ऑफिस में बैठा हूँ नोएडा के, मेरे पास ये रिसोर्सेज हैं ये चेक करने के कि अगर मैसेज आया कि वैक्सीन से इनफर्टिलिटी होगी, तो मुझे इंग्लिश आती है, मैं अमेरिका की किसी रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पर देख सकता हूँ, ICMR में जा सकता हूँ, कोई रिसर्च स्टडी देख सकता हूँ कि ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. लेकिन प्रॉब्लम क्या आ जाती है कि जो इंग्लिश नहीं समझता है, हिंदी की हमने बात किया, और भी कई भाषाएं, हम सिर्फ हिंदी की बात करें इंडिया में, वहाँ उनके पास वो रिसोर्सेस नहीं है, उनके लिए फिर वही अटल सत्य है. और यही वजह है कि कई जगह से खबरें आई थी कि पूरे गाँव के गाँव, बड़े बड़े कम्युनिटीज डिनाई कर रहे हैं कि नहीं, हमें बच्चा नहीं होगा, हम वैक्सीन नहीं लगवाएंगे. हालांकि 139 करोड़
वही
ऑलरेडी
मैं
हो
सोच
चुके
रहा था
हैं, फिर
कि
भी इतनी चिंता
this is
करना
like-
ठीक नहीं है, पर फिर भी
कि और लोगों को लगवानी चाहिए वैक्सीन अगर इनफर्टिलिटी
तो
होती है.
No, but that's not true. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता.
Yes, this is not true.
इम्पैक्ट का फर्क होता है कि वहां ज्यादा सीरियसली लिया जाता है और उसका इम्पैक्ट ज्यादा खतरनाक हो सकता है उन जगहों पर जिनके पास क्रॉस चेक करने के
But
रिसोर्सेज
मुझे लगता है कि people don't always cross check also. मतलब it's people like you and I or maybe Prateek, maybe other journalists.
Maybe नहीं यार.
No, what I'm trying to say is that people who really want that information are probably going to fact check, because a lot of times I get this question from people that, but hame nahi karna fact check because of paucity of time. Maybe they don't always, maybe they have the resources, maybe they are literate enough to do it, to read and all of that, but maybe they just don't have the time to do it.
So in that case, if I am like a regular person, what should I do? Like, should I stop trusting everybody, or what should my, because I don't have time to fact check every story, but I also am trying to do better and I don't want to believe also everything. So
So
what
if you
do
don't want to, I think in my opinion, there's a simple rule for it. You find something which sounds too good to be true, or is sounding absolutely ridiculous, and you think that, hey, no, I don't think this is true, right? And I want to verify. Even if you don't want to verify, it's come from somebody which looks like a dubious source to you. Firstly, question the source of your information and don't believe it just because somebody sent it. Even if your best friend has sent it, even if anybody, your closest confidant has sent it, don't just believe it because they are sending it. Maybe they also got it from somewhere. Maybe just ask them, hey, what's the source of your information? Do you know that?
So Carl Sagan had actually said this really nice quote that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. If it's absolutely out of the blue, like I'll again, sorry, just too many COVID examples. I don't know why, but I'll stop after this. But there was this really viral claim which said that take the vaccine and you'll die within 2 years. This was attributed to a French virologist, and this went
Crazy viral.
berserk. People refuse to take the vaccine. It's about my life, and I don't completely blame them, because it is about your life. What if you take the vaccine and you're saying, you're not even saying you'll die immediately. You are saying that you'll die 2 years after taking the vaccine. So people were scared, but it's just extraordinary. Where is this coming from? Who said this? Verify. Did that person really say that? If they did, what are their credentials? What is the source? Was that published in a peer-reviewed journal? That's the most basic verification to do. And I think even if you don't have time, I'm sure you can at least question your friend, ki, hey, what's the source? That's simple, right?
Sometimes then don't you guys feel that your job is pointless because you anyway can't target that last person emotionally, and if it at the end comes down to whether this guy wants to believe it or not, तुम उसके सामने कितना भी reason रख दो, मतलब.
Yeah, honestly, मेरे opinion में even if you are able to explain the fact to one person, I'm happy.
Also
I
make it
feel
more accessible, I think.
Yeah, I just feel my job's done. I mean, not like, ho gaya khatam, okay, bye, happy going back home. But I just feel that, I feel empowered. I feel accomplished in the sense that, fine, I wasn't just preaching to the converted. I wasn't just talking to Siddharth and Divya and Prateek. I was talking to a person who genuinely believed some information to be true, which wasn't.
You talk to a person who probably still believes in it? What kind of language that you use, or what kind of distribution would you go for?
Language, first of all, don't talk down to them. Don't try and tell them that, hey, whatever you're believing in is stupid. There's a way you speak to people, right? Like you're speaking to our friends. Maybe I can just very casually I can talk to you now. I can ask you, hey, what's the source of your information? Like for instance, what we were talking about earlier. And you tell me that my source is XYZ. And I say that, oh, but I've seen this website and they tend to publish a lot of things without any evidence. So maybe, let's go through it and find out what's right and what's not right. So I think couple of ways how you speak to people, and Siddharth and Divya would
about
be able
this,
to add
I'll
to
just share a very small anecdote. So every time like some relatives and all come मेरे घर पे, there is obviously politics. हर एक चीज पे दुनिया भर के experts हैं, तो discussion शुरू हो जाता है. And I have this very weird habit कि as soon as I hear something from you, right, I'll Google it right there and then. And मुझे ऐसा लगता है that it's sort of disrespectful to the other person.
So that's the thing.
And I think that if I feel that, it'll sort of give more share to the misinformation being spread longer. Because I want to sort of fact check it and check what
On
they are
the
saying
go.
on the spot, because again, I don't have the time, I won't have all of that. बट कहीं ना कहीं फिर मुझे लगता है कि यार मतलब आई डोंट वांट टू डू इट राइट नाउ, सो लाइक व्हाट शुड आई डू इन दैट केस?
So it's, see, like Kritika put it, it really depends on how you're putting that information in front of them, because a lot of it is the moment you say something anti to what they're saying or believing, it almost feels like a personalized attack on them.
Exactly. My
right?
first thing मैं Google करके I just ऐसा
Yeah.
mic drop
Yeah.
moment करके screen
Yeah.
look at
maybe
that.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not completely
That's
in
what
favor
you
of
don't
doing
have
that.
to do, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Very subjective.
No, yeah,
yeah.
Don't-
exactly.
so
No expert.
if there is one learning,
Yeah.
please don't ऐसा.
मतलब don't insult somebody just
Yeah.
because they don't know. Don't
Yeah.
call them out in public. Maybe आराम से बताओ ना कि listen, I think what you're saying is not correct. See, I checked. See, once. You know, don't call them out. Don't insult them in front of the
Don't
whole
mock
group.
them,
Don't mock
and
them.
yeah, don't show like you know the facts and they
They
don't.
don't. Yeah, like, hey, you're
Yeah.
stupid. You're
So do
believing
you
this.
guys don't do that in general?
I don't.
Because
I
you are like
genuinely-
I don't.
professional.
Yeah, I genuinely
Yeah.
don't, and
I
I'm not just saying it because.
So
hey,
would you
let's
not
look
judge anybody
nice.
who is like a?
It's
fine,
not,
yeah,
judge
Have you
yourself.
guys ever been like guilty of accidentally forwarding something that you weren't 100% sure of?
I
or
don't
something?
forward messages, so.
है ना, this I think is the best way to
I just
stay
don't forward
safe.
messages.
कि forward क्यों करना है? Anyway, अगर किसी को मिलना होगा तो वो कहीं ना कहीं से
हाँ,
they
मतलब
would
my
come
messages
across.
are normally literally text messages. I
Yeah.
don't forward.
I don't forward.
Even if you know a person is a habitual offender, मैं तब भी condescending नहीं होती. मैं सिर्फ बोलती हूँ this is wrong, and it's important to call them out because वो Twitter पे कर रहे हैं, and a lot of people are falling for it. So please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't call them out. I am saying call them out. Please call them out. But I'm not in favor of being condescending.
Yeah.
That's
Because the
all.
thing is, even if there's like 1% chance of that person opening and reading your article, by using that condescending language, that person is going to be all offensive. वो बंदा article खोलेगा भी नहीं, and they'll be like, oh, who are you types. So
which is something that happens.
Yeah, that's
people are always there's, people indulge in whataboutery then.
That's what it's not about. You should not question the fact check. Nobody's saying that. You have enough evidence to question, and you really think that there are some loopholes in the fact check. Please feel
do
free to
that,
actually please feel to fact check and reach out to the fact checker, and they will give you answers or whatever.
And honestly,
but
we
asking
all
this
have-
vague question, who fact checks the fact checker, ये तो बहुत endless वो है ना, मतलब फिर
And
तो
I think-
it's like somebody's fact checking the fact checker, then
Who
you'll be
will-
like, who will fact check that person? So
Infinite loophole.
that's like.
And I think honestly, all of us have very clear correction policies. We're all humans.
What is correction policy? Manu?
Correct. I think any journalistic organization, we all have correction policies. कि कोई गलती है, if you have any issue, you can write to us, and then we'll review your email, we'll review your query, and in case we find that there's been a problem at our end, we will fix it, and we will make it very clear in the story that there was an error in the story, and we fixed it. All I'm trying to say is nobody say this is not. It's a democracy. We are not saying ki, oh, we've done a fact check, so you are absolutely no one to question
Yeah,
us.
nobody's saying that.
You have the right to question us. But just let's not get into what about it. But उसने भी तो ये किया, but इसने भी तो वो किया, but तुमको कौन check करेगा?
And is there like an image of like fact checkers being biased politically and ideologically?
Of course.
And like, how would you want to like tackle
I
that?
think everybody does that. You fact check party X, party Y will accuse you of bias. You fact check party Y, party X will accuse you of bias. Sorry, I've said it ulta. You get what I'm trying to say.
We even got who the X and Y were.
No, but what I'm trying to say is you do a fact check which goes against anybody's ideology, which goes against anybody's belief system, their the politics they follow, the party ideology they follow, the other one will call you out.
And it's not just to do with politics.
Yeah.
It's any
Anybody.
particular domain, anything. You fact check one part of it, the other part will say. So it's not just confined to political parties. Any domain.
And I think the proof of our unbiased fact checking is the fact that both the parties
Both
are,
the party. हाँ.
yeah,
Why not if
both stakeholders are
you
calling
offend
us.
everybody or in the
Yeah, so probably
best
we're doing
place.
something right because
और आपकी फैक्ट चेकिंग को कोई बायस्ड बोल रहा है या आपके फैक्ट चेक को कोई बिलीव कर रहा है या नहीं, उससे पहले की फैक्ट चेकर की लड़ाई ये है कि कम से कम सारी मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन का फैक्ट चेक हो एटलीस्ट, तो जो बिलीव कर रहा है उस तक तो पहुंचे और फैक्ट चेक होने के बाद सही इंसान तक पहुंचे जिसके लिए वो मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन ज्यादा खतरनाक साबित हो सकती है। कोविड कम वक्त फिर आ जाएगा बीच में। कोविड को लेकर जैसी बात हो रही
जिंदगी खा रखी है, पहले 2 साल लॉकडाउन में, अब खत्म हो गया, अभी भी जा ही नहीं रही बात है
कोविड को जैसे बात हो रही थी, तो वो मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन जान ले सकती है किसी की कि वैक्सीन नहीं लगवाई तो मैं मर जाऊं। और कई लोग सोच भी रहे होंगे जब कृतिका बता रही होंगी कि इस तरह की मिस, तो वो ये भी सोच रहे होंगे कि तुम क्या कर रहे थे अगर ऐसा हो रहा था। तो उस वक्त हमने कोशिश की कि उन्हीं की रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस में जिसमें वायरल हो रहा है उन तक सच पहुंचाया जाए। एक प्रोजेक्ट था हमारा जिसमें ना सिर्फ हम फैक्ट चेक करते थे उनकी रीजनल लैंग्वेज में, हमारे वॉलंटियर्स जाते थे और वो उन तक सच पहुंचाते थे। तो पहली कोशिश तो ये होनी चाहिए कि हम अपना काम करें, उन तक हम पहुंच जाएं। हर वो नेता लोग बोलते हैं ना, अंतिम पंक्ति तक खड़े व्यक्ति तक, वहां तक हम पहुंच जाएं। फिर वो बाद की लड़ाई है कि वो बिलीव करेंगे नहीं उसके बाद।
Nice, nice. So, okay, this is like some thoda gray territory that I'm entering. Now, I see that all the news organizations have their own fact check wings.
Not all though, but yeah, most.
मतलब हाँ, a lot of them I think they do.
Yeah.
Quite a few actually, but not even most. Yeah.
So, do the journalists who are working on stories in that news organization, do they come to their fact-checking team to sort of preemptively check it? Because a lot of these fake narratives, a lot of them are propagated by news channels, right? So, मतलब it really baffles me कि एक news organization जिसके पास अपना fact-checking wing है, अगर वो ही fake news propagate कर रहा है, so what was that fact-checker doing उस समय पे?
So that's what, just to not enter this territory, at least in Boom, I can only speak about Boom right now. So at least in Boom, so we have a news desk. So till the time the information has not been told by the primary source.
Okay.
So let's say Virat Kohli says that I have quit so and so championship. Let's just say hypothetically.
Already heartbreak हो गया.
Okay. So if he says so, and some XYZ media outlets has tweeted, done an article, we are now going to do that article till the time Virat Kohli himself tweets or there's some primary source related to him tells us that ऐसा हुआ है. Even though it's a very major news, one might say कि oh, how can a media outlet get it wrong, right? Might just say.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, that's what. So
In rush.
in rush. So it might.
It doesn't always happen in rush. Yeah.
No. It always happens in rush only, rather.
I think what I have seen so far is that we're always in a rush to put out news. And when by we, I don't mean fact checkers or fact checking organizations or something. I'm just saying that a lot of times we see that media organizations are in a rush to put out stories, and in that rush,
I'm saying a lot
to
of
get
times
it
it's even
wrong.
more malicious than just.
Yeah, that is true. That is obviously true. But I'm also saying like she's talking about a breaking news
No,
situation.
rush वाला फिर भी समझ आता है that it is still थोड़ा borderline misinformation.
That's the
No,
thing. There should be no some वही बात है कि just because rush का आप एक वो दे देते हो leverage type कि वो rush था हमने कर दिया.
You can't give that leeway.
कोई ऐसा leeway नहीं
There's
है.
a reason why media is called the fourth pillar of democracy.
कोई leeway
right?
नहीं है यहाँ.
लैंग्वेज हम सही लिखते ही है ना, कितना भी रश हो, वही उतनी ही जीरो टॉलरेंस पॉलिसी फैक्ट्स को लेकर भी होनी
So you're saying that leeway might still be there for a regular consumer, कि they might not have had the bandwidth to check everything,
There's
etc.
no
But for
leeway.
media organization, it shouldn't be there.
I just don't think there should be a dual policy, no?
Yeah, there should be no
And I
leeway
don't
at all, I
think people, like a lot of times, I mean, you're talking about a regular consumer. What do you mean by a regular
Like a
consumer?
normal person who has received like a forward,
अच्छा.
you would have different considerations for a normal recipient of a message and a media organization.
But that's
right?
what we are trying to tell you, that it's important for you to question that source. The day you start questioning the source of the information, even you will stop doing that. So if we give you that leeway, I'll give you an example. 2020 is when the Galvan clash happened, right? A WhatsApp list was aired as breaking news.
I am talking about that only. So now,
Then why give leeway, na? You should question.
So I am saying, let's say if I receive that text, I forward it in my belief कि मेरे को लग रहा है ये सही होगा.
Okay.
Versus it being aired on national
I
TV.
think
What
both
would be more culpable according to you? Like, what is more flagrant in that?
See, all I'm trying to say is if everybody inculcates the right habit of questioning the source of the information, then that you
So you're
wouldn't
saying
find
that
yourself.
distinction is over in today's
I'm
age.
just
कि
saying that
media
you
is not
can't.
in
I'm just trying to say that of course media has a lot more responsibility because okay, sorry, an overused quote, but with great power comes great
100%,
responsibility.
yeah.
So media has a lot more responsibility because you're reaching out to a lot of people,
And you have the resources. to
and
do
you
that.
have the resources to do that, as opposed to, let's say, a Kritika who's going to put it out on Facebook where she has 300, 400, 500 friends.
Or even tell personally one
So,
more
but
person.
I'm still not saying that it's okay for her to do that. All I'm trying to say is the day she also starts questioning the source of the information, that's not going to happen. Then a Siddharth will not fall for it because I didn't share it. Then Siddharth's also going to question it. Then Divya's also going to question it, because in our close group, maybe we're going to tell each other that, hey, the right thing to do here is to question the source of the information instead of just being in that rush to put it out. And if I'm not a journalist, if I'm not in the industry, am I really in a rush to put that information
Exactly,
out?
yeah.
Then maybe all the more reason for me to be careful. I
That's
don't
actually a
know.
really nice point. कि चलो एक सेकंड के लिए we give a benefit of doubt to a news organization. मेरे को क्या जल्दी है इतना forward
No,
करने
मैं तो benefit of doubt भी नहीं दूंगी.
There is no benefit of doubt. There is
Yeah.
no leeway.
1 घंटे बाद इन्फॉर्मेशन सही आनी चाहिए। और सोशल मीडिया अगर आपको ये ताकत दे रहा है कि सामने वाले फ्लाईओवर में कुछ खराबी है तो मैं सीधे मोदी जी को टैग कर सकता हूँ, तो एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी है ना कि ये सब तक पहुंचेगा। ये मेरा ड्राइंग रूम नहीं है कि मैं कुछ भी बोल दूंगा किसी को।
अगर ड्राइंग रूम है भी तो भी मत बोलो।
और अगर उस
उस
ताकत का फायदा उठा रहे हो तो वो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी समझो।
ये मजाक से ही तो शुरू हुआ ना कि व्हाट्सएप, लाइक हाउ वी यूज्ड टू, लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल यूज्ड टू से कि व्हाट्सएप फैमिली ग्रुप्स एंड व्हाट्सएप पे अंकल आंटीज डू दैट, व्हाटएवर। बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज ये मजाक की तरीके से बोलते थे ना हम कि पहले गुड मॉर्निंग गुड नाइट मैसेजेस आते हैं। अब उन गुड मॉर्निंग और गुड नाइट मैसेजेस के बीच में इतना सारा जो इन्फॉर्मेशन व्हिच इज नॉट ऑलवेज,
आता है, good
या रूमर्स जो आ जाते हैं, तो वही है ना। सो आई थिंक बिकॉज वी आर गिविंग आवरसेल्व्स दैट लीवे, वी आर लेटिंग व्हाटएवर इज हैपनिंग ऑन द इंटरनेट हैपन.
Okay, is there a note that we can end which won't make me very hopeless about life?
No, you should be
No,
hopeless.
rather you should have hope that even you or anybody there, anybody who's listening to this podcast, all of you can do fact checking on your own.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for fact checkers to write an article. All of you are empowered to do it on your own. I think that is one hopeful note. That
On hopeful note, I want to talk about the stuff that you are doing with training people. So what's that like? And also from training, I just want to ask, is fact checking something that is being taught in journalism schools now? Because it's like such
Not
a...
all, but
not all,
a few.
But
have,
तुम्हारे
yeah,
time
yeah.
पे तो नहीं होगा ना?
नहीं, हमारे
मेरे
टाइम
time
पे,
पे तो
या
नहीं।
मेरे टाइम पे भी नहीं था.
yeah. So
Siddharth?
They are all like self-learned
So we've all
people.
learnt on the job.
On the job, yeah,
On
yeah.
the
We've
job.
all learnt
It's
on
not
the
like
job.
we've done any course, nothing. We've all learnt on the job. But now, because obviously news outlets are
awareness,
realizing,
yeah.
so journalism colleges are also realizing, because it's not just about realizing it as a skill, also realizing as a career opportunity, right? So it's a career opportunity also, especially for journalism students. So journalism schools now do have, at least if they don't have like a proper semester course, they have these guest faculties coming in and doing
Workshops,
lectures
yeah.
and everything, workshops. That's precisely what we also do for some colleges. So that is happening, but that's the thing. So it's started like this. We got computers, right? उस time पे सबने ऐसा नहीं सोचा कि एक दिन ऐसा आएगा, everybody will have to learn computers. There will be no life if you can't function rather if you don't know how to operate a computer. Right now, normal public, general public does not see fact checking as a skill. But I don't understand why. Fact checking right now is conceived as there's a very popular notion कि it's for media, it's for journalists, it's for journalism students. But मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता, if all of us are receiving information, that means we are also receiving misinformation. So if we are receiving misinformation, we should also know how to fact check. It's as simple as that.
तो 100 बात की एक बात, इनविड चलाना सीख लो.
मैं तो बोल रही हूँ वो भी मत चलाना सीखो. आप सबके एंड्रॉइड में प्री इंस्टॉल्ड गूगल लेंस है. एप्पल में आप लोग गूगल क्रोम ऐड कर लो एंड यू हैव एक्सेस टू गूगल लेंस एंड यू कैन यूज इट. इट्स दैट सिंपल. उतना भी नहीं करना, गूगल इट.
And
I am saying lunar.
How
and
would you how trustworthy would
there's
you
one
keep
more- there's one
Google
more-
as
so-
a-
It depends. It really depends on the kind of
Exactly.
sources. I mean, I don't want to get into lateral reading and all of that now. But yeah, exactly. That's why
Part 2
there should be like Google
on lateral reading.
literacy, Google
Yeah.
literacy workshop also कि
Please
क्या
explain it to me
Google पे
afterwards.
Google पे क्या link trust करना, just because there's a link on a website, link on internet, does not mean
why
it's
something
trustworthy.
ranks higher
Yeah.
is a lot to do with algorithm, paid SEO, lot of things. So it's जरूरी नहीं है कि first link आया उस पे click किया and yeah, I'm going to believe whatever is written.
And it's not just about googling. Let's say आपको नहीं करना, see googling also right now it might sound a bit privileged, सबको गूगल करना भी ठीक से नहीं आता, right? So it's very, हम लोग को बहुत बेसिक लगता है बट सबको नहीं आता. So to be मतलब बहुत ही बेसिक अगर ये है, अगर आपको थोड़ा भी डाउट है, बूम लाइफ, क्विंट, a lot of fact checking outlets in India, we have WhatsApp helpline numbers. All you have to do is, we all have like helpline numbers. आपको बस इतना करना है, आपके पास एक फॉरवर्ड आया, you forward it to our helpline number. That's it. We've received it. We will get back to you with our fact check or whatever credible information we get. इसमें तो आपको
So
भी
by
कुछ
get
नहीं
back
करना
to you
पड़ा.
means personally or as a story?
Personal story तो होगा ही.
Personally
So we'll
also.
personally respond to you with our article, or if let's say we don't proceed with an article for whatever reason, we give you credible information on that visual or on that claim whatever you've sent.
See,
So इसमें तो आप बस forward कर रहे हो,
Yeah.
इसमें तो कुछ नहीं है. तो
We try to do as much as we can.
This is the easiest चीज जो मुझे अभी तक लग रही है कि
Yeah.
again as she said that Google भी नहीं करना, so we'll be flashing their numbers,
Yeah.
मतलब not their personal numbers, their
helpline numbers.
helpline numbers here and it
उस पर हम पर्सनल नंबर से ज्यादा होते हैं वैसे टिप
जहाँ पे हमें बहुत funny messages भी आते हैं, but okay.
okay. So, yeah,
बाकी
you were saying.
मैं
हाँ,
एक चीज
sorry.
कहना चाहता हूँ कि खुद को आम आदमी मत समझिए. आप अगर एक मैसेज को
इमोशनल टच बिल्कुल
1000 लोगों तक फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हैं, तो आप सोचिए कि आप उन्हें झूठ का
Yeah.
शिकार भी बना रहे हैं
Yes,
अनइंटेंशनली.
100%.
ये उन लोगों से कह रहा हूँ जो नॉर्मल सोशल मीडिया यूजर खुद को मानते हैं. बाकी वेरीफाइड वालों तुमसे क्या ही कहना.
भाई ज्यादा गंद वेरीफाइड वाले मचा रहे हैं मेरे को
तभी
लग
मैं
रहा
कह रहा हूँ उनसे कुछ नहीं कहना.
Nice. This I think is a good hopeful note to end
Yeah,
on.
I mean, honestly, just send it to us and we're more than happy to verify it for all of you.
Please do. And I think the only takeaway that I can have from this chat is that because we all get information every day, it is sort of our responsibility somewhere. मतलब as you said कि किसी को भी benefit of the doubt अब नहीं दे सकते, I think, because now we have seen enough cases of real life damage being had, beat COVID, beat your child snatching वाला पूरा जो
Yeah,
बीच
yeah.
में
Child
चला था.
kidnapping rumors, yeah.
So करना पड़ेगा यार, कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. So thanks a lot, guys. Not just for this chat, in general for existing, because you are, as I said, you are like the cleaners of the internet. So thank you. And this was our podcast. If you want to check out more episodes from the Quint's podcast, check it out on our YouTube channel or on your preferred podcast app. You can check out more shows like News and Views, Do I Like It, Urdu Nama. बहुत सारे shows हैं. Also, I'm going to be flashing all their numbers in the description and यहाँ पे भी कहीं ना कहीं डाल दूंगा मैं. So please reach out to them and अपना क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Fact check, no? Word?
बेवकूफ ना बने.
Webkoof ना बने. Yes. And do you have a tagline with Boom?
ऐसा नहीं है, बेवकूफ ना
Have a
बने.
tagline, no? That's
Boom karo. You guys have a tagline?
Yeah, we have like stop, verify, share.
हाँ, so
It's called
webkoof ना
stop
बने and stop, verify, share.
share.
And bye. This is Prateek. I'll see you in the next one.